Hello and welcome to the Miss Rolling podcast. My name is Jacob Staten and as usual I'm joined by JJ Armstrong. JJ, how are you?
I am radical, finally back after a long extended break in a villa in Spain, so apologies that it's been so long since we've done an episode, but I'm finally back and I'm radical. How are you, Jacob?
Yeah, I'm fine, mate, thank you. I'm not quite as good as having a 2-week early autumn's hot weather training camp.
Yeah.
But I'm really good, mate. Thank you.
Good.
Really good.
Good.
I suppose we'll jump feet first into a Roy Keane tackle about the Leicester away. I can't remember the date now. It was Monday night because they're all on Monday night at the minute. Apparently, I'm looking at my board. Monday, the 3rd of October. An interesting game, I think. A very interesting game. You were watching on a 8-minute delayed stream in Viva España. I thought we were very open at the start. Very open. A change of formation, change of personnel again. We were just discussing before, weren't we? It was we started playing a 4-2-3-1 with there's just a lot of players, wasn't there? It was kind of mind-numbing a little bit. It was just... Yeah, I didn't think we started too bad. It was just very open at the back. I think it was very apparent we were comfortable playing a back five type thing. There were a couple of chances. I think Vardy had a header, which I can't believe he didn't score. And I want to say Dewsbury Hall had one as well at the back post. And then we had a good bit of tidy play. And obviously, Awoniyi hits the post. Now, I believe, JJ, you've not actually seen that, have you?
I didn't see that. Unfortunately, my internet crashed just before Awoniyi's chance, and I was frantically trying to get the stream back on. And in the period of time of me pre-Taiwo chance and refreshing the page, we were 2-0 down, and I couldn't believe what I'd seen. I was gobsmacked, not to be too dramatic, but I didn't think in the minute or two that I was trying to refresh that would have conceded 2 goals. So didn't get to see most of that period of play, but I'm almost quite thankful, really, that I didn't get to watch us capitulate once again.
Yeah, it was an odd one because although I think Leicester were better than us at that point in time, but it was one of those ones where I think if the Awoniyi chance goes in, the momentum shifts in our favour and we could be that team that takes a couple goal lead. It was just unlucky with the finish. I mean, I think I did think to myself at the time, who goes to that corner when you're shooting? But, I'm not a professional footballer, so it's not my place to say that. But, and then I think that's a really good, I don't want to say analogy because it actually happened, but, you've literally blink and you miss it and your stream caught up and we're 2-0 down, and it just kind of, as soon as that first goal goes in, I could never see us going back into the game. A huge stroke of luck. It was a poor half clearance from Lingard. A huge stroke of luck with the deflection. Nobody could do anything about that. The second goal, I think it was Steve Cook. James Maddison put the ball over the top to Jamie Vardy to run onto, as he always does. I think it was Steve Cook. He's pooped his pants about going to close him down because you get too close to Jamie Vardy and he'll blink and he's gone. And he just lays it off, and Harvey Barnes did a great finish. No pressure on him. So it's just it felt a good finish and a lucky finish, and then all of a sudden it's kind of game over, and they make it 3-0 with a wonderful free kick. Normally I say anything near post as it was, keeper's side, keeper should be saving, but I don't know, off the post like that, it was a wonderful free kick.
Yeah, it was yet another game after the Fulham and Bournemouth one where we just conceded goals in really quick succession, which feels spineless at the time. It was a really frustrating performance. I think you talk about my stream being 8 minutes delayed, but it felt like Leicester were on the normal stream and the Forest side were 8 minutes delayed. We just seemed really poor, slow, and I think Leicester are a team that are in trouble. They're not playing well. Since the Forest game, the last game they played, they didn't cover themselves in any glory. So I think that shows the gulf of just how poor Forest are now. Wasn't too impressed with his starting lineup from Mr. Stevie. Koyate and Cook for me aren't the right people because I just feel like they're a bit slow. Brennan Johnson, I think, needs a bit of a rest, but all in all, I think the night just felt like a complete and utter disappointment. Fortunately, my partner's family had to listen to me rant and rave about the fact that the ownerships are going to get rid of Steve Cooper and that we're a spineless side and all that. I think I went into full meltdown mode that evening, unfortunately. But all in all, I think I don't want to sort of go on about the Leicester game too much because it was just rubbish. It was completely disappointing and it felt like they did to us what we did to them in the cup and just completely outplayed us, outclassed us.
Yeah, I mean, in the second half, I think obviously, I think we played a bit better in the second half. And, it's very easy to say that because they're winning 3-0. They're going to take the foot off the gas a little bit, aren't they? So, I think we played a little bit better, a little bit more solid without really creating too many chances. Patson Daka scores a good goal, rounds it off 4-0. So, but then kind of what ensued after that was the media being the toxic wasteland that it is starts, ramping up the rumours around Cooper being out, and just a sensational response from Forest fans. I mean, we did a poll, didn't we? I think it was about 92% Cooper in. If I'm correct,
if not more, yeah.
If not more, nearly 1,000 votes. That's unanimous in my opinion. So yeah, lots of speculation. I mean, you shared with me another article from The Athletic, or a snippet of an article from The Athletic, where apparently we were looking at Thomas Tuchel and Maurizio Pochettino. And then all of a sudden, from absolute nowhere, comes a new 3-year deal. Yeah, which is
I felt for sure that he was gone, and I was really down about it. I was gutted. It felt like I texted my mate who's a Blades fan. Got to get it in there. And I sort of said,
"You've got a friend who's a Blades fan."
I do. If you've listened to the podcast before, you'd know that. And I sort of said to him, "Now I get how you felt when you lost Wilder, because it almost feels like a breakup. It felt like if we let go of Cooper in a few years' time, we would look at his career and we would completely regret it. But it very much felt like the writing was on the wall. And you talk about nearly 1,000 votes on our poll on Twitter, being unanimous. In that context, it is. There's obviously much more than just the Twitter fan base or the people that follow us supporting Forest. So it isn't reflective of the entire Forest fan base as a whole. But what is reflective of the Forest fan base as a whole is the supporters singing his name when we're 4-0 down, sort of sending a message to the ownership. The display, we'll talk about it in a bit, but the display that was out there and the support that went for him against Villa. So he has the fans on his side, and I think the ownership did actually listen to that. I think it would have been a really negative move on their behalf if they got rid of him. I think they're on a knife edge at the minute. I think there is a lot of toxicity towards the owners at the moment, and I think getting rid of Cooper would have been a very bad decision. And Tuchel and Pochettino is never going to happen. Yeah, I'd been amazed if it did. Might have softened the blow slightly. But the rumours of Benitez, Sean Dyche, Espirito Santo, no, they're not as good as Cooper.
Club, isn't it?
It's against club. They're not Cooper. They're not Steve Cooper. So overwhelmingly happy that he got the new contract. I never would have guessed that would have happened. I thought maybe he could have bought himself another game, but a new contract is not something I imagined. It doesn't mean that he's invincible. He loses a few more games on the trot and he is gone, but it gives us a little bit more stability. So I absolutely love Steve Cooper, so I'm more than pleased that he got that contract.
Yeah, same. Completely. It's one of those things. It was so crazy that he got a new contract, given all that's happened, and because we're not playing well, and it is a results business. Just because we'd all love him to stay doesn't mean we're not the owners of the football club. I mean, me being the not the voice of reason, but the devil's advocate here. Part of me was thinking, if you're just going to get rid of him, just get rid of him. Do you know what I mean? Like, don't. I think it happened with Stuart Pearce, didn't it? Where they kind of delayed getting rid of him, and it got a bit worse.
Yeah.
So if you were just going to get rid of him, just get rid of him. That was my kind of where I was getting to with it. I'd kind of already accepted it and moved on. And then when the contract came, it's just so random. I didn't even break a stride type thing. It was just laughable, really, but wonderful at the same time. He's exactly the person I want in charge, and he plays, and it is good. It's good. I think I said to you, hopefully, during all the speculation, it was just the kind of Cooper and the Marinakas boys smoking cigars off the coast of Piraeus, wasn't it?
Yeah, and if we did get rid of him, he'd have been punished for overachieving, because there's no way that he should have taken us up last season from where we were when he came in. He shouldn't have. We shouldn't be here right now.
From where we were when he took over, top of the top half of the table was punch him.
Yeah. So
never mind top 4, never mind playoffs, never mind playoff final, never mind promotion. So,
and overachieving, finally getting this to the Premier League, giving him an impossible task with the recruitment, and we're hearing horror stories now of how that's going. He's sort of punished for other people's chaos and overachieving. So anyway, he got the contract. He's still Forest manager, and he was in charge against Villa. So happy days.
Happy days. And on to the Villa game. Lovely Segui there. So I went. JJ couldn't make it because it was a Monday night, and he lives up in the grim north. So yeah, I went with a friend. It was an interesting atmosphere. It wasn't as buoyant as I thought it was going to be. I thought I was expecting it to be bouncing because of the new contract, and that it wasn't. Certainly, let's put it this way: it was a good atmosphere. Not putting it down or anything like that, but it wasn't the West Ham or Tottenham game. That's all I'll say. But yeah, we changed up the system. We've gone to a 4-3-3. New personnel in, new fullbacks in Aurier and Toffolo. Remo Freuler came in, and from the start of the game was clearly being the holding player. Ryan Yates came back in, and first start for Emmanuel Dennis. First start,
yeah. First
start, and as the lone striker as well. I thought the change of formation to a 4-3-3 was it's my preferred formation anyway. I thought the choice of Freuler as the holding player actually means when we got the ball, we were trying to play football. He's going to see a lot of the ball off the centre back. So that to me said we're going to try and play some football when we do have it. Interestingly, in an interview after the match, Steve Cooper pointed out that it's not how we played that game, because we didn't have a lot of the ball, and there were long periods where we were sitting off them. It's not the way that he wants to play, but sometimes it's the way you have to play, which I appreciate. And it's probably going to it's definitely going to happen more often in the Premier League than it did in the Championship. But yeah, it was not necessarily the team I would have picked, but I think it worked. I really think it worked. Started the game, I wouldn't say brightly, but we looked well prepared, which isn't something you can say for a lot of the season. And then Dennis, very electric up front, winning headers from Tyrone Mings that I didn't think he ever had a chance of winning. I don't think you would have won. Wins the free kick, a lovely ball into the box from Morgan Gibbs White, pinpoint, and a great header into the back of the net, and everyone goes wild. And yeah, it was just a fantastic start. And then the Ashley Young goal, I've not seen a replay. It looked an absolutely amazing finish. I'm sure you'll confirm whether or not it was an amazing finish or not, JJ, but it looked an amazing finish. There was a bit of, and I'm not sure if there are any replays, and I'm sure if anyone was there, please let us know if you think I'm right, but the foul that led up to the goal, there was a foul committed by Morgan Gibbs White in the Villa half that I don't think it was a foul. And then when they kicked off, the referee was still giving Morgan Gibbs White the finger wag telling off. So it should have brought it back and re-kicked off. Just something didn't sit right. I mean, I think Yates went down holding his head as well and was too honest and got jumped straight back up. So there's just a couple of things around the goal. I'm not denying the finish, wonderful finish, and I don't think Henderson could do anything about it. So there was a couple of things in the build-up to the goal I think didn't go our way.
Yeah, I think that just sums up Forest at the minute. The rub of the green and all that is certainly not on our side, but the goal, the young goal, is phenomenal. We seem to just have a complete and utter will they fired our way. Typically happens when you don't close people down. Not sure that was the case here. I think it was just a fantastic hit. But I agree with what you said. I think we looked bright. We looked okay. Was happy to see Freuler in. Was happy to see Dennis start. For me, the questions still remain over Kouyate and Cook. Wasn't too pleased to see them remain, especially when you've got Mangala on the bench. I think it's interesting that Worrell's still sitting on the bench for me. I have my doubts about how Worrell has played so far, but I still think he's better than Cook, and Cook's more of a backup. Still a good player, but more of a backup.
I understand the initial drop.
Yeah,
but I don't think Cook's played well enough to maintain. Again, I appreciate possibly chances that he's given Cook a run to get form. And one thing about your back four is you want to settle back four, especially the centre back pairing or partnership if it's three kind of thing. So I understand if he's giving it time, but just some of not necessarily Monday night, but some of the performances from Cook, I think I would have dropped him already.
Yeah, I think we're 4-3-3 isn't Steve Cooper's identity. Like you say, the way we played isn't the way he wants us to play. But to grind out results and get a few points on the board, I think it's something that we're going to have to put up with for a little while, whilst we integrate the squad, whilst we get them a bit more sort of combined with each other, because they're not gelling at the minute. There is a lot of them. His system's going to take a while to adapt with this massive change of squad, so fine. 4-3-3 works for me. I think we're nearly there. I think from the team that started against Villa, for me, Cook for Worrell, and then ultimately Niakate when he comes in, and Mangala for Kouyate. I think we're nearly there. I think that team could do some damage, and it was a better performance. I was certainly less disappointed. I think it was positive. I thought Ryan Yates, when the team was announced, I immediately thought, why are we playing Ryan Yates? Like, come on. Now's not the time for sentiment. But as we always say, he proves us wrong. You've got to recognise that he put in an exceptional performance. He seemed to sort of bleed for the shirt. He was really up for it. He looked like he was enjoying himself. Freuler and Yates together were fantastic. So, yeah, I was impressed. I thought we played well. Dennis was a handful. His ball retention and our ball retention as a whole is really frustrating. The fact that we keep giving it away. I think Dennis alone gave it away 18 times, which is mad. But it looked like he was trying to do things and actively wanting to do things, which is something we've not really seen from many people other than Morgan Gibbs-White. So I thought it was a positive performance. It wasn't perfect, obviously, but the rot has stopped, and there's definitely something to build on there. You can see the potential. There's something to build on there. So I was relatively pleased. Obviously, would have preferred to get the 3 points, but I thought it went well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the second half was. I can't think of much that happened really in the second half. They had that disallowed goal in the first half, which was, I was sat on the opposite end of the stadium and I could see it was offside. So thankfully Thorpe prevailed with that and a quick VAR check, which was good. Nothing much really stood out in the second half. I think we had a couple of, what was nice, we were quite dominant towards the end of the game. And the ball, I think it kind of game ended, didn't we? We'd had a couple of corners in a row. So that was nice to see us still pushing. Just shouting out a few people. I think Ryan Yates was absolutely fantastic. He got back to doing what he does best, and he being our, people might roll their eyes, but being our Robbie Savage type of player, getting himself about, trying to get box to box. I think as the game went on, he got better and better and better. Remo Freuler, absolutely fantastic. He decision to play him in the holding, get him on the ball, do what he does best. Those kind of nice range of passing. He was fantastic. Really, really covered a lot of ground. Gibbs White, really good. Too many flicks and tricks in the first half. I think he gave the ball away a few times. I think with the way that 4-3-3 is, the wingers have to be quite defensive and cover their fullbacks as they attack. So I think he was doing these flicks and tricks, thinking he was a bit further up the pitch where he can lose the ball a bit easier. But still looked very lively. Brennan Johnson looked a bit better to me. Looked a bit more comfortable. I don't know if it was just because Aurier was kind of getting up a bit, but I think when Neco Williams came on, it was quite clear to see that he doesn't really get forward, does he? So I wonder if that's really affecting Brennan Johnson's game. Kouyaté, I thought, was better than he has been. Kind of putting himself about, which was nice. It's almost like, in my head, you play the two. You would play a 4-2-3-1, and you'd have the two sitting. But we did it the way around. We had the two going out and winning the ball and putting themselves about, with Freuler in behind to mop up. It was, I can remember years ago when we played Derby away, one of Stuart Pearce's last games with the Osborne goal, and he put Robert Tesher in the 10. And it wasn't to be an attacking player, it was to mark Omar Mascarell. I think he was on loan from Real Madrid, and he was their defensive midfielder who made them tick. And Robert Tesher made his life a living misery in that game and stopped them from playing. So it's almost kind of felt a bit like that. Kind of put yourself about, stop Luis Diaz from getting on the ball, stop Coutinho from doing flicks and tricks, and it seemed to work for me. It seemed to really work for me. Not sure it'll work against everyone, but yeah, I thought Cook was a bit lost in the first half. I think he got a bit better in the second half. McKenna looked back to his normal self. Toffolo had a great game. Henderson, as a goalkeeper in that game, very, very good. There was not a ball that went in the sky that he didn't come and claim. Kicking the ball, it's like he'd never done it before, which is odd, being that he's meant to be a good sweeper keeper. So one to keep an eye on. But as a goalkeeper, overrides anything to do with his feet for me. I thought he came for everything. It was fantastic. So I think it was a very promising game, and I'm really looking forward to the Wolverhampton one on Saturday.
It's a promising game, but I think one thing's for sure: Villa aren't very good. They've got some good players,
City, didn't they? They got a draw City. Sure. Arguably should have won. Got that Coutinho goal ruled out. So
fair play. I thought Villa were really, really poor on Monday. I
think we ground them down in the second half. I think we really I don't know if they were expecting us to play a bit more and they would have a bit more space, but I think we ground them down. I think we made them look a bit bad.
Yeah, it certainly wasn't the best game in the world, but we didn't lose, so fine. I've got to say, Serge Aurier, I didn't want him, but I thought he did a good account of himself. He did look a bit clumsy, did get a yellow card. But he was all right. Not the end of the world. So we're nearly there. Yeah. We're nearly there. On to Wolves.
Absolutely. On to Wolves, yeah. So big game against the team. I think we're level on points with Wolves, aren't they? Just sacked Bruno Lage. Interesting game. I don't see why we can't go and get something. Have they hired someone yet?
No, Lopetegui declined them this morning, I think.
Oh, did he? He's just been sacked as well, hasn't he, from Sevilla?
Yeah.
Lopetegui.
That guy.
Yeah, so they haven't got a manager. They might have a bit of spring in the step, but again, just another interesting. I don't see why we can't go get all 3 points. They have not been good. They've got Diego Costa versus Ryan Yates is going to be fun, isn't it? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, thinking about the game and then what I'm thinking. Probably going to go 2-1 Forest.
Yeah, Wolves are a weird side. Like, same as Villa, same as Leicester. They do have good players and they have got a good squad. There's quite a few. Like, Sarr's a great keeper. I think Kilman is a good player. Moutinho, Nunez is supposed to be good. They've got Podence. They've got Adama Traore. They've got Guedes. I think Neves is injured. Eight Nori is a good player, and obviously they've got Costa. So they've got a good squad in there. I don't know what's going wrong, and it's the same as Villa and it's the same as Leicester. I guess the same as us. Some good players in there, but they're not quite ticking. So I imagine it's going to be quite similar to the Villa game, where it's not going to be the best quality. It could go either way. It really could. It's going to be tight. I think there's definitely no reason why we couldn't go out there and get the 3 points. So from a prediction side, I'm going to say Forest 1-0. It's going to be a difficult game. It's going to be a little bit shit of a game. Hopefully Forest prove me wrong, but it's certainly not going to be easy. So I wouldn't look at, for the fans that looking at Wolves and thinking there's 3 points because they're struggling. So are we. So strap yourself in for this one, I think.
Well, that glass is almost bone dry, isn't it? It might not fall.
Yeah, well, I don't know why. I just think Wolves are a difficult side, and I'm looking at my mist rolling in wall chart. After Wolves, we've got Brighton, Liverpool, and Arsenal coming up. So it's a difficult October. It's a very difficult October. I think this is our main chance to get a win. And I think a win sets us up nicely for that tough run of games following that. So big fingers crossed. My glass does sound like it's bone dry, but I am positive that Cooper knows what he's doing. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, on the Brighton game, that's going to be a toughie. They really are playing well. De Zerbi looks like he's coming in and done the right thing and not changed too much. I think I was listening to Talksport the other day. They were saying that he said in his press conference that, he's not come in because someone's been sacked. Everything's going well there, so he's not got too much to do. Just kind of put his own stamp on over time. So he might reap a few benefits to the Graham Potter mould, which is nice for him. But yeah, the Brighton game, I'm not optimistic. They've got a good squad. Yeah, that's going to be a real toughie. Wolves, I'm going to go full glass half. Full glass half.
Full glass half.
Full glass half. Full glass half.
Sounds like you've had a few full glasses. Bloody hell.
It's been a long day, and I'm quietly confident about Wolves, so I'm sticking with me 2-1. Brighton, I'm going to very optimistic 0-0.
Yeah, if we get a point at Brighton, it would have been a great result. I'd be very happy with that. Brighton are a great side. They're one of those teams that have sort of been built by a great manager in Graham Potter, full of energy, some really good players. Just look what they did to Man United. They're a very good side. So I think we'll struggle in that one. I think the Brighton, Liverpool, and Arsenal games in a row is a little bit brutal. If we can get a win against Wolves and a draw against Brighton, then we've done really well in October for me, or better than expected after the.
It's momentum, though, isn't it? Because anyone who's watching on video can see me cocking my head to look at my wall chart on the wall. But it's momentum, isn't it, for me? Because if you think we got a good draw against Villa on Monday, I think we could snatch a result with Wolves. So that's 2 unbeaten. That's 4 points. That's fantastic. Brighton away. It's momentum.
You never know.
We used to say we couldn't get a draw. And then you're beaten in 3. You got home against 2 big clubs, or is the Arsenal game away? Actually,
Arsenal's away.
Yeah. Liverpool at home. That the City ground is going to be. If you walk past it, you'll see the concrete moving. That's what that stadium's going to be like. So it's those little runs. It's that momentum. So full glass half full. Why can't we build a little momentum?
Yeah. Why can't we? That's very positive.
Why can't we?
What was the banner that unfurled for Steve Cooper? We've come so far and we've only just begun. So it's difficult. It's weird because it's only been a few months since the Wembley playoff final, but I'm finding it relatively difficult to be positive about Forest at the minute, and slightly embarrassing with all the stories coming out at the minute. So need to remember that we do have Steve Cooper at the helm. We are in the Premier League. We do have some good players in our squad. Somewhere. We've got a fantastic ownership with a son that keeps himself to himself. That bit might not be true. We've got a new sporting director that keeps himself to himself. That bit might not be true.
We've got a proven track record.
But overall, it is still positive. So maybe the Forest positivity can come back. I'm certainly hoping that a few wins can sort of mask all that nonsense again, like it did last season. So yeah, positivity is back. That's. I know we've just sounded miserable the entire podcast, but that's our task that I did. Glass half full, half full, half.
Glass full, half full.
That's my task to you, is to retain positivity in this wonderful time to be alive, supporting Forest.
We have, much to be thankful for in this current situation. Consider where we were last year. Let's put it that way.
You Reds.
We've got another 12 months to use that, haven't we?
Yeah. Well, let's be positive. You never know what's going to happen.
Never know.
Europe, here we come.
Well, if you're listening for the first time, thank you very much for joining us. If you're coming back from multiple listens, we love you very much. You Reds.